Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Friday the 10th of March 2023. In today's Millwall news, Tom Bradshaw done it. He won the Championship Player of the Month. Here he is, got his award, seemed quite happy to receive it. This is from southwarknews.co.uk. Millwall's Tom Bradshaw reacts after bagging February's Championship Player of the Month. Forward netted 5 times including the hat-trick against Sheffield United, his second treble of the season. Tom Bradshaw paid tribute to his teammates after being named EFL Championship Player of the Month for February. Bradshaw missed out in January after being nominated, but this time got the nod ahead of Burnley's Hjalmar Ekdal, Coventry City's Carl McFadzean, and Middlesbrough's Chuba Akpom. Bradshaw, 30, scored 5 goals last month, a hat-trick in a 3-2 win against Sheffield United, a late equaliser in the 1-1 draw at home to Burnley, and the second in the 2-2 draw at Luton Town. Bradshaw scored 13 goals in 30 Championship games this season, already his best return across the campaign since he signed from Barnsley in 2018. The Lions took 12 points from 7 games in their challenging run of fixtures last month. It was a good month. I'm looking into that month before it started. There were some tough fixtures in there. Sheffield United, Burnley, Sunderland, Luton, and the likes of QPR away, Coventry away. It was a tough month, Bradshaw said on Millwall TV. Personally, to pick up this award, it's brilliant. Feat for me. But I think as a team we did as well. It was obviously disappointing that we dropped points against Norwich, but I think if you look at the month as a whole, we did really well. Hopefully we can kick on from there. Bradshaw is a tireless worker for the side, but he also acknowledged the effort of his teammates. That's always a big part of my game, Bradshaw said. Any striker wants to score goals, but I'm very much a team player. I like to help the team defend, assist when I can, and I press from the front. It's been a successful month for the team as a whole, and I've been lucky enough to score the 5 goals, but there's no way I'm scoring those goals if it wasn't for the hard work the whole team put in and the shift that the lads put in. There you go, Welshman Tom Bradshaw there. Will this result in an international call-up? They do have fixtures coming up, but we shall wait and see. Can they afford not to? He is getting on a bit, so it's obviously not one for the future. But do you want to build for the future, or do you want to get results now? The future can wait. Moving on. We've got this piece from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Millwall midfielder's big relief at being back involved and explains why his own long-term future is not the primary concern. Ryan Leonard is pushing any thoughts about his long-term future to one side as he focuses on helping contribute to Mill's playoff push. The 30-year-old returned to the first team fold at the end of January after 5 months out with an injury to his left hamstring. Leonard suffered the issue in training after playing a full 90 minutes in a 2-0 defeat at Norwich City in August. The former Sheffield United and Sheffield United midfielder, Southend United and Sheffield United midfielder complained of slight stiffness, and the scan revealed a grade of 3C, a large tear which should have kept him out for 10 to 12 weeks. Everyone was a bit taken aback a little bit when they told the South London press. I didn't think it was bad at all. I just thought I had maybe tweaks here, or it was just a little bit tight. But when they told me the result, I was like, wow, where has this come from? I ended up being out for a bit longer. I was flying through my rehab, doing really well. I was out running after 5 or 6 weeks. I felt really good. But everyone knows hamstrings can be a little bit difficult. A couple of weeks before I was due to be back in full training, I just felt a little tweak in it at a different point in the same leg. And that was a warning sign to kind of say it's not quite ready yet. So we took a step back and said, let's get 100% right and come back and have no problems. And touch wood, it's been fine. I've had no issues with it at all. It's very much about the mental. When you get an injury, you have to put it to the back of your head, you work through it, and you get out the other side. Leonard returned as a 63rd minute substitute in Mill's 1-0 win at Cardiff City on January 21st. I'd been back for about 5 weeks training, but the manager wanted me to have a big period of time to train, which is completely understandable, said Leonard. It's one of the biggest reliefs you can have when you've been out for so long and you get that first game under your belt. It's nice to get it ticked off, not to think about it and move on. I thanked all the fitness staff and physios after that because it'd been such a long process and a lot of hard work with them. When the other players are on days off or if it's the afternoon and you're still in there doing extra bits in the gym. Leonard has made 110 league appearances since arriving from the Blades in August 2015. He's out of contract at the end of June. If the option is there, I'd like to stay, said Leonard. I enjoy playing for the football club and I like playing for the fans and the manager. I'm settled in the area. You can't worry about any other situation because if you take your mind off the pitch then your performances drop. It's an obvious answer, but you have to concentrate on what you're doing on the pitch and hopefully everything else takes care of itself. For me, the most important thing is staying fit and playing games. I'll worry about that when I need to worry about it. Millwall were unbeaten in 11 championship matches at the Den before Saturday's 3-2 defeat to Norwich City. Two low corners by the visitors ended in goals for Jacob Sorensen and Tom Bradshaw accidentally diverting into his own net. The result was a bit of our own doing. The two set pieces were down to us, said Leonard. They are little details, but we need to get it right. There are positives to take from the game. It's not completely negative, but I don't think it's all doom and gloom or the end of the world. Okay, they've jumped above us and we've moved out of the playoff spots. There's so many games to play and points to pick up between now and the end of the season. If you look at the matches before Norwich, we've had 4 really tough games and picked up 8 points. My first season here, we were down the other end of the table trying to survive, and you'd rather have the pressure of trying to get where we want to get now rather than that. And there you go. So Tom Bradshaw, not Tom Bradshaw, but Ryan Leonard. So his contract's up this summer, and he's one of the ones who has. Don't know if he's having discussions or if they're not even started speaking to his agent. So I'm sure he must be a little bit worried, but he can do that. He can fix that himself if he turns in the performances. When he gets the opportunity, it's going to be a no-brainer to re-sign him. So there you go. It's basically all in his own hands. If we've got obviously players injured out now, Billy Mitchell's out and others, that's up to him. And he's certainly one who's capable of playing in a number of positions in terms of right back, centre back, midfield as well. So very versatile. But we will see. Now moving on to this from southernnews.co.uk. Garrett explains Mill's approach to final weeks of promotion running. The Lions will likely need around 20 more points from their final 11 games to secure a top 6 finish this season. Millwall will not change their approach in the upcoming fixtures after securing a series of fantastic results in February. The Lions lost just one game last month, a 1-0 defeat to Coventry City, winning 3 and drawing 3 of their other 6 games. Their start to March has been far from ideal, losing 3-2 playoff rivals Norwich City last weekend. However, they now only have to play 2 teams above them in the table before the end of the campaign, while their next 3 matches come against teams struggling towards the bottom end of the table, giving them a chance to pick up 9 points before the international break. Rowett is adamant his side's mindset won't change, however, explaining that they will aim to perform at a similar level regardless of who the opponent is, especially as every point becomes more and more important in the final stages of the campaign. I think our approach is the same if we play Burnley or bottom of the league, he told us. I don't think that approach will ever change. It's the Championship. I've been in it for 11, 12 years now. I don't think you can ever feel like that because you've come up stock if you do. The key for us is it's not back-to-back games. For example, we gave the players a couple of days off after Norwich because physically there's players that are out on their feet. But what we can do, hopefully now, is to get some players back, probably around the international break, and give players a chance to actually go game to game and feel a little bit fresher. I know we've got a 3-game week next week, but it's the fact that we've got a week now. You'd have to think about the recovery. You'd have to think about how we get the players prepared and ready, but also physically able. Well, I think this has come at a good time. We've got a week and then a 3-game week, and then the international break. But to be honest, fatigue's not going to be an excuse for winning games in football. That's the only different part of it, that we haven't got to rotate so much and can concentrate on what the best team is and what we can put out there in each game. It'll be down to the performance and the performance alone. So there you go. Gary Rowett there. Now, let's get into it. The preview, predictions for tomorrow's game at Reading away. This is the historical record of Reading versus Millwall fixtures over the many years since the 29th of January 1921. This is from a website called 11v11.com. As you can see as we scroll down, it has been a pretty awful place to go if you're a Millwall fan, especially in the 1930s. In the 1920s, not so bad. Alternating between winning and losing. We didn't get our first draw there until 1951, which is many years after we joined them. I think both Reading and Millwall, I think we came into the Football League at the same time. We were both big teams in the Southern League, I believe. So we've played many games against Reading, and as you can see, from 1934 to 1954, a 20-year span of about 10 or so games, we lost all of them and drew one. We won in 1954. Probably, I would imagine, down to the smog. They probably couldn't see us at that time. Awful smog at that time in the country. Yeah, we won that 4-2, and then we go back to losing. We didn't win again till 1986. So from 1954 there all the way down to 1986, about probably 13 or 14 visits, we didn't win. Something happened in the 1980s and the 1990s where Reading fell off. They must have done, because we went there and we didn't lose for many years. Well, we got there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 visits in a row where we either won or we drew, including one in the League Cup. So obviously that was a poor period for Reading, it seems, or maybe a good period for Millwall. But then after that, we go back to losing. We win again, obviously, in the I think that's the promotion season. Yeah, that is promotion season. 2000-2001. We go there and win 4-3, but then we go back to a massive streak of not winning until 2018. And 17 years of not winning there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trips. 17 years and 9 trips between wins. And then we get to the most recent one there, 5th of March 2022. We won that 1-0. Before that, we won, so we're on a 2-streak win at the moment, which is as good as it's been. We've never had on 3 trips in a row to Reading. We've never done that. The best we've done is 2 wins and then a draw. But before that, it was a 2-1 win. Before that, we lost 2-1, lost 3-1, and then we won 2-0. So historically, if you're going all the way back, it's pretty horrible. If you're just going back till the end of the war, it's still pretty terrible. We had a golden period in the 80s and 90s where we couldn't do no wrong there, and that ended, and we went back to how it was. And here we are. So we're on 2 in a row. Are we back in a period here, this period here, or is this anomaly? Are we going to go back to losing? You got the 2 wins in a row here, and then we lost. Or could we? And this is another thing. We've spent 2 seasons in the top flight, and that was in 1988 to 89 and 89 to 90. Getting up from there, I think we won the league in 87-88. I believe, I had a look the other day, I think we've only won 5 leagues. I think it's 5 over the years. Going to Reading for a third time in a row and winning would be an historical statement to the quality of the Millwall team as it is now. As we saw the wins that we had before, when we go to a place that we haven't won, QPR, and we win, that's unusual because we don't usually do that. So it must mean something, mustn't it? It must mean we're actually good. We're actually pretty good. Or it must be kismet, karma, whatever. Maybe we're getting a bit of luck from the gods, from Allah, whoever. Maybe something's on our side. So certainly you would think if we win tomorrow and we break record by winning 3 times in a row on our trips to Reading, that would mean something is happening. Or not, I don't know. Now, moving on to this from whoscored.com. No, this is the prediction. We're moving on to this from whoscored.com. This is more information. So here we got the last 6 trips. Not a draw to be seen. So the last 6 trips, so I'm pretty sure all of these would have been the new stadium. 1-3, lost 3. 9 goals for them, 8 goals for us. 7 yellow cards for them, 9 yellow cards for us. And again, remarkably, even though the numbers are similar, no draw. Just either a win or lose. And if you look over these last 6 games, one of them is in the League Cup. Probably the first round because it's in August. I believe that's got an asterisk there, so I imagine it was after extra time. But if you look, so we kept 2 clean sheets in those 6 games. They have not kept any clean sheets against us in the last 6 games. So, match facts. They seem to have upgraded the match facts. Reading have seen under 2.5 goals in 5 of their last 6 matches against Millwall in all competitions. So under 2.5 goals in 5 of the last 6 matches. This is obviously home and away. Okay. Not a high scoring game, they're saying. So here's the table as it stands. Millwall 7th, Reading are 15th. Well, that's pretty indicative. They've got goal difference of -16. You would think it's cut and dry, isn't it? This is a team we should be beating. Well, not hold your horses, because here, have a look here. If we look at the home table, Reading are above us in the home table. And as a Millwall fan, if you're a Millwall fan watching this, if you're not, hello. If you are a Millwall fan watching this, you know how good we are at home. They are better than that. By 1 point, but still. So they're similar to us at home than we are at the Den. Why that is, I would have no idea. Maybe it's the pitch. The pitch is quite big, I believe. I can't imagine it's the fans. When I went there, the fans didn't really make that much noise. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's the travelling. It's just probably pretty annoying for the players to get out. I have no idea. But there you go. They are very good at home. The reason why they are failing at the end of the table is they are one of the worst away teams in the league. So there you go. But let's get back to Millwall 9th. This is what we needed to do. We needed to improve our away form, and we have done that. So we've got 6 wins, 4 draws, 8 defeats in away games. Scoring 18, conceding 23. We compare that to Reading's home form. So they've conceded 19, scored 27. They've only drawn 3 games. They've won 10, lost 4. One of those losses came in their last game, but that was against Sheffield United. Now, let's have a look and see the last 6 home games for Reading, the last 6 away games for Millwall. Obviously, Millwall, pretty much a mixed bag. We kept 2 clean sheets against Cardiff and against Stoke, and that really was take the lead, see the game out, all backs to the wall, Alamo. Obviously, Cardiff certainly nowhere near as worrying as the Stoke game, where Stoke absolutely came at us, but we managed to withhold it because they're not very good in quality. Luton, however, we went 2-0 up. A bit early, there was still about 30 minutes left, but the drawbridge wasn't brought down. We tried to carry on playing. When it goes 2-1, then we make the changes, but by then it's too late because we're inviting Luton on to us, and they end up getting the equaliser because they are a good team. They're a lot better than Stoke, coming forward than Stoke and Cardiff. So we've kind of switched lately in terms of the way we're playing away from home, trying to go up and get the lead and then sitting back. Obviously, we got that amazing result against Queen's Park Rangers, and a similar we tried to defend, and it went, I think it was like 7 minutes injury time. I was like, oh my god, obviously they're going to score here, but no, they didn't. We ended up winning 2-1. Now, the result of Coventry, that was a bit worrying. And the result of Middlesbrough, but again, those are the two games that we failed to score. So pretty much a mixed bag in terms of Millwall's away performances and results. If we're looking at Reading, they only kept a clean sheet against Watford, but that was in the FA Cup, so I'm imagining Watford made a few changes for that. It was 2 weeks, a month later when they played them in the league, they drew 2-2. Now, you see, they haven't kept a clean sheet in any of their home games, but they do score. Scored quite a few goals, except for Reading, except for against Sheffield United, where Sheffield United managed to keep a clean sheet, and they ended up winning because they got a goal. So, is it vital in terms of if Millwall need to win this game that they keep a clean sheet? It may very well be, because if we go and have a look at Reading's fixtures, these are their own fixtures in order so far this season. They have lost at home. We're not going to include the Stevenage game, that's a cup game. They've lost at home 4 times in the league this far, so far this season. They've lost at home to Sunderland, West Brom, Preston, and Sheffield United. Now, in those games, Sunderland won 3-0, West Brom won 2-0, Preston won 2-1, Sheffield United won 1-0. They haven't had a 0-0 draw so far this season. So it seems that if you can stop Reading scoring, you're going to win the game. So that might be what we need to do. They do have a number of options up front. Andy Carroll is a bit of a beast. Now, what do you do with that? Do you try to stop him winning the headers, which is probably impossible, or do you just try to put him off and then mop up the second balls and do that all day long? Do you try and play a higher line, and then try and win the balls? But then if he hits one sweet, they get him behind, a bit of pace, that might be a problem. If you play too deep, then you've got the worry, what's George Long going to do? Is he going to come for it? Can he jump up against Andy Carroll and win the ball? Can he knock the ball away? He's definitely seems that George Long isn't in the team for his goalkeeping ability, more his distribution and attack. So what do you do to keep a clean sheet against Reading? So let's get back to this and see. So here's Reading's strengths: aerial duels, as we just said. Andy Carroll, I think he's probably leading the league in aerial duels. Millwall strengths, got a lot more than them. Weaknesses, they've got a lot more than us. Here's the styles, and here's the match forecast. Millwall will score from a direct free kick, very likely. They always say that, but it never happens. Millwall will make a comeback if they go behind. Millwall will steal the ball from the opposition off. Yeah, probably, because if they're pumping it long to Andy Carroll, I imagine get the ball quite a bit. So let's get on to the prediction. What do they think? Here we go. Obviously, a lot of players injured for both teams. Although I believe Umaku is back for us. He played in the under-21s on Tuesday. Shackleton should be back as well. So, prediction. Reading looked much improved against second place Sheffield United on Tuesday night, but wasteful finishing ensured that the Royals were left with nothing to show for their efforts. Paul Ince's men have lost 3 of their last 4 league games, and pressure is beginning to build on the former England international. Millwall scored twice and outshot Norwich 22-9 last weekend, but still walked away from the fixture empty-handed, following an uncharacteristically poor defensive display. The Lions have now dropped to 7th in the table, but have lost just 1 of their last 5 league games away from home. And they predict Reading 0, Millwall 1. So they think we're going to keep that clean sheet, which should mean that we will win, because we do have the capability of scoring. And if you look on the right hand side there, you can see it's Tom Bradshaw 13, Simon Fleming 13, and then it drops all the way down to Cresswell 4, because they're not including Duncan Watmore's goals, which is what I think as well. So we've got Vogelsammer jumping over Malone finally in terms of assists with 5. So there you go. Can they stop Bradshaw and Fleming scoring? Doubt it. I doubt it. And they predict Reading 0, Millwall 1. So that's interesting. So now let's get on to Sky. What have they got to predict? But this time, as we go down, we're going to have a look at some of the other matches that are going on in the league. So obviously that's important. There was a game today, just before I started filming this, obviously Stoke against Blackburn. And we got a bit lucky. Stoke beat Blackburn 3-2. So that did us a favour. Taking points off of Blackburn give us a chance to catch up to them. We won't overtake them, but if we win tomorrow, we'll go within a point, and we have a massively better goal difference than Blackburn. We are 7 goals better than them in goal difference. So let's have a look and see what other games are on now. This is good. Sheffield United versus Luton. Obviously, we want Sheffield United to win that. We want, ideally, Sheffield United and Burnley just to run away with it. Maybe not run away with it, but certainly when they play the playoff teams, to hit them hard. Swansea, Middlesbrough, West Brom, Huddersfield, Norwich, Sunderland. Now this is an interesting one. This is Sunday at 12 p.m. Sunderland kind of dropped off at the moment, but like Norwich last weekend, Sunderland will be aware that if they win this game, they will go within a point of Norwich, and they will equalise their goal difference because I think Norwich are on 12, Sunderland are on like 9. So if they win this game 3-0, Sunderland, they'll get within a point of them, and they'll get a better goal difference. So that will be a vital one for Sunderland to win that. Here we go down to the Reading Millwall game, and they reckon it's going to be Reading 1, Millwall 2. Reading 1, Millwall 2. So here is the point of the video where I make my prediction, and I am going to predict, I think it's going to be Reading 1, Millwall 1. As we've seen, 3 wins in a row for Millwall visiting Reading. Hasn't been done before, and certainly not losing would be a good result, considering they're a really good team at home. So we have drawn there a few times. 1-1 in the League Cup in 1984, 1-1 in 1966, 1-1 in 1951. So most of the draws have been 1-1. There have been a couple of 0-0s, a 2-2 or 1-1. So yeah, I think it's going to be Reading 1, Millwall 1. Yeah. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.